my message to you before we start the program is very brief because the message is simply we are excited. Niantic as a company is excited. Dan Morris as a human being is very excited. This is my first AWE. I was working with VR developers for many years, and my immersion into the community here has been nothing short of inspiring. It's been funny, I've only been at Niantic 3 months, but in my discussions with AR developers about Lightship, the enthusiasm with which they greet me and greet our offering, I've just seen faces light up and say, finally, like, we've been waiting for years for this, thank you. It's really put a whole new wind in my sail and in our sails at Niantic. So we're looking forward to talking to all of you, either here at the show or down the road. Please keep us in mind. We've got lots to say to you about Lightship and what it can do for you. But in the meantime, welcome to the developer track, and I'll turn things over to Logan.
All right, thank you, Niantic. Wonderful. So our next speaker is Alon Grinspoon, CEO of Echo AR. Alon is a big believer in augmented reality and is working on building the world's best AR-first content management system and delivery network to help companies scale their AR solutions. Alon is a Java native speaker with countless hours of programming in Java, Android, Unity, C#, C, and Bash. Alon loves to create AR/VR apps, GUI, and graphically designed applications, open source programs, and API integration alongside his experience and passion for cloud and computer communication networks. So with that, let's give a big round of applause to Alon.
Thank you so much, Logan. Really appreciate the kind words, and thanks Niantic kind of sponsoring this track. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the last day. Hope you all had an amazing time so far, and today's going to be like the cherry on top. Thank you so much for joining. Today, we're going to talk about how you can build a cloud-connected AR, VR, or 3D application or game literally in 15 minutes or less. Just to kind of feel the crowd, who here is a developer? OK, perfect. Who's an aspiring developer? Perfect. Fantastic. So welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a great mix of people. As Logan mentioned, I'm basically running a company called Echo. I'm going to start kind of by introducing myself and saying hello. We're based in New York. We are building a cloud platform for 3D applications, which basically provides tools and network infrastructure for developers like yourself or aspiring developers to build applications at scale. I'm a certified nerd. I did my master's in computer science at Columbia University, specializing in AR, VR, human-computer interaction, and graphics. Undergrad in computer science, electrical engineering. So really, really kind of again, nerd and certified. Now, kind of before we start, I want to level set here a little bit. Usually I do this talk in non-AR, VR events, and these kind of terms are going to be thrown around a lot. So I just want to level set here just to make sure we're all on the same page. I'm sure you all know what's the difference between AR and VR. Who here knows what AR and VR are, right? Perfect. So virtual reality, again, just to level set, is or VR is when everything around you is digital. You're fully immersed in a 3D environment, and everything you're seeing is basically being projected into your eyes through some optical see-through or some kind of headset that occludes everything you see. And you're controlling the world or interacting with it with your hands or some kind of controller. As opposed to augmented reality or AR, which you still see the real world. That world is being overlaid with digital content, and you're basically looking at the world through a camera see-through, like a phone or a tablet, or an optical see-through, like some sort of glasses. So this is basically kind of the difference between AR and VR, the immersion or the kind of utility of looking at the world. A really good example of like to understand this concept is the amazing should have been Oscar-worthy nominated movie Space Jam, in which we have Michael Jordan being teleported into Looney Town. Everything around him is a cartoon. He's kind of fully immersed in this VR environment, interacting with bugs and other Looney Tunes, as opposed to how we have later in the movie, in which we have the Looney Tunes coming to our world, playing around with us with Bill Murray in a virtual kind of actual court with virtual assets around them. So that's kind of the comical explanation between what's the difference between AR and VR. Real-world examples of this is something that you probably all know, things like Pokemon Go by Niantic. I just spoke, and basically things around like people who are running around interacting with digital monsters are not really there. Classic example of AR versus VR, which you're, for example, here we have Beat Saber, which you're fully immersed in a 3D environment, slashing cubes based on the rhythm of the music. And you're kind of fully immersed in a 3D environment. So these are kind of well-known examples. Another example that I want to share with you all is an example that is really close to my heart, and the pun is definitely intended. This was my thesis project back at Columbia University. We took CT and MRI scans, converted them into 3D models, put them on these smart glasses called the HoloLens by Microsoft for a physician to wear, and they were basically able to see the patient's heart floating above them during surgery. It was an amazing, amazing experience. The hashtag was AR in the OR. And it was really, really, again, like a really compelling use case for augmented reality during surgery. I personally got to scrub into over 12 surgeries, which was insane. Because again, I'm a developer like you, an engineer. What am I doing in an OR? In order to achieve that, I actually had to do something I really, really hate, and that's waking up super early in the morning. I had to be at like 6 a.m. At the hospital, convert those 2D scans to 3D models, deploy them on the HoloLens. And that process was so frustrating. It took so much time. And as a developer, I just wanted to do two things. I wanted to manage 3D assets, and I wanted to deliver them to an AR device. And that process basically was very, very filled with friction, because I physically had to go to the hospital. I physically had to play around with all these 3D models. And when talking to other developers who are building applications for retail and shopping and data visualization, stuff that are, again, amazing use cases of AR, VR that are outside the medical domain, they kind of all said the same thing. It's really hard to manage and deliver 3D content. But if you think about it, the problem that we're kind of talking about was already solved for web and mobile. If you're building a web app, you can use something like Heroku because you're kind of cloud backend. If you're building a mobile app, you can use Parse or Firebase as kind of your backend as a service. We went through this kind of amazing evolution of content from web, mobile to now AR, VR, immersive, call it whatever. And the question for our team had to be asked, who's going to build that kind of next cloud solution for 3D? So you've guessed it, that's Echo. That's what we do. We're a cloud platform for 3D applications that basically provides tools and infrastructure for developers to build applications at scale and really, really rapidly, and taking all the insights that we have from 2D content and bringing it into the world of 3D. Now let's talk about how it works. So if you think about if you're a developer, you don't need to actually be a web developer to update a blog post, right? You drag and drop an image or video, suddenly that appears in web and mobile. And if I'm in New York and you're in California and we're both watching an episode on Netflix, we automatically get the best streaming experience. So we looked at that and said, okay, let's translate these concepts into augmented reality, virtual reality, and 3D, basically allowing developers and creators to get the best 3D streaming experience and basically allow you to manage data all over the world. And what's interesting between 2D content and 3D content, that's you as a developer or like a creator or even just a user, you can't move an image or a video on a website. But you can definitely move a 3D couch across the room, and that needs to be updated on the cloud. So 3D content has this kind of unique connection to its location. It's spatially aware. That's really interesting and basically adds the complexity of building what we call a 3D-ready cloud. But this is what we did. We basically set on the goal to create like this content management system, a delivery network that is really, really focused on 3D and basically allows developers to build, rapidly build 3D applications. I'm going to do something today that most people advise you not to do at a conference, and that's use conference Wi-Fi to basically share a live demo and hopefully make this interactive so you can kind of stream data to your phones. So let's try to kind of risk it and see if it works. What I'm going to do right now, you can register on our website and play around with exactly what I'm doing right now. You can literally recreate everything that we're going to do live. So kind of pray with me to the Wi-Fi gods, and then hopefully everything will work. So let's dive in. So you register to a developer platform. You get an API key, basically a project key that allows you to build any application that you want. You can have multiple keys, which means multiple projects, multiple repositories of 3D content. We have integrations with every kind of SDK out there. If it's Unity, if it's Android, iOS, Flutter, anything goes. And obviously, we're working on integrations with now that Niantic released their new SDK, something that we want to integrate with as well. But let's add some content to the cloud. Let's start with something super, super simple. I'm going to add, I mentioned New York, so let's upload the 3D model of the Empire State Building. You can upload images, you can upload videos, anything you want. And we also have a collection of over 75,000 3D models that you can use for free in the platform. So you don't even have to kind of cater to your own kind of content creation. Let's throw that in. Again, pray for the Wi-Fi to work. What happens right now is that we take that 3D model that is usually suited for kind of 3D printing. We convert, we compress it, we make sure it works everywhere. And then we upload it to our cloud. Once that it's here, we can see that the original file was an OBJ file, but if I can also see that our cloud already converted it to GLB, USDZ, different file formats for different platforms. Again, for you, what do you care? But it obviously should work. But now that we have it here, let's see it in augmented reality and let's see it live. So I'm going to click this button right here. It will open a QR code that you can scan. If you want, you can scan it live with me. Again, Wi-Fi permitting. It will redirect to a website and will basically allow you to see that 3D model in WebAR, something that we all really, really love. Just scan the QR code. You don't have to install anything on your device. It will redirect you to a website if you're on Android, iOS. If you're on iOS, use Safari, because that's the only one that has kind of camera permissions. But there we go. You're seeing my phone on the right here. I'm seeing the 3D model, and I'm going to click See in AR. Camera will open up. Camera will recognize the floor. And hopefully, there you go. You can see some of the screen members. There we go. Here we are. We see the Empire State Building here with us, with the crowd. Super, super simple. All I had to do is just drag and drop it. If you're on frame, you can say hello to the camera. But this is, again, super, super simple. Look how easy it is. We're able to upload it, see it automatically, and share it with everyone here in this call. How amazing is that? You're all streaming the same model. Our system automatically detects which phone you have, which bandwidth connectivity you have to basically get the best experience that you can. Move your phone around a little bit, make sure that it kind of detects the floor next to you, and that 3D model should appear. Perfect, okay. This is good. This is a good start. It actually worked. Fantastic. So we saw an example of web. I can also show you an example of mobile, basically having a mobile app that you can integrate. Just plug in the API key. It will stream the data right into your app. Super, super simple. Another thing that we support is Unity. It's a game engine that a lot of developers love to use. Echo is a Unity verified solution partner, which basically means that we were kind of technically verified with their team and working closely with them. But this is a way for you, again, to kind of stream data everywhere. So we just saw how I uploaded something to Echo, and you can all see it on your devices. Now, if I work in this kind of virtual environment, if I want to build a VR app or a game, I'm going to plug in the same API key that I just used. Pressing play, data will stream from the cloud to the game engine as opposed to what we had now, that it streams to the phones. Very similar process. Again, this is an empty scene. There's nothing here. But then literally seconds after, bam, we're seeing the Empire State Building right here in VR. And this is the same Empire State that we saw on our phones. And now let's say I want to change something. I'm a developer. I created an app for someone, and they want things to change. They want me to update the application. So instead of rebuilding the application or even doing anything technical, what I can do is I can go back to the console and add some metadata. I can decide adding some stuff like direction equals right, for example. Now, this is a simple solution, a simple example, but it's to show that automatically content changes. Wow, I'm actually in love with the Wi-Fi here. You can see like suddenly the 3D model started changing just because we added some metadata. So this is basically a mechanism for you to synchronize devices, enable or disable features remotely, add features remotely, and basically change your application as it goes. Something that we're seeing today in the world of 3D, AR, and VR is a lot of applications are really cool, but they're kind of a one-off. Like you do a campaign for some brand, it's really cool, but then if you open the same experiences tomorrow, it looks exactly the same. But that shouldn't be the case. If I want to update this experience, if I want to update my app, I should be able to do it, again, as easy as a drag and drop like we talked about in the world of web. And the cool thing about Echo as well is if I stop this application from running, everything disappears because nothing actually persists on memory. This means that your app, your build will be super, super small, similar to like how for the WebAR integration, we don't even have an app installed. And that means that your kind of end users will be actually inclined to install an app because it's much, much smaller. All the assets are coming in from the cloud. They're not part of the build. If I restart this application, data again will stream from the cloud to the game engine. At this point, you can see that basically it's a kind of stateful CMS. It remembers that this kind of model needs to rotate, keep rotating. And I can continuously just add more and more data. So if I want to add another building, let's say we're creating like our own kind of small world, I can literally just add more and more data, decide that I want to move the building 10 feet away, and everything kind of will automatically kind of populate into the scene. There we go. I just added this building, bam, real time, just added into our VR scene. So these are obviously simple examples, but to show that you have full control of how you can build your application, how you can kind of store things remotely, and we handle all the kind of content optimization under the hood. You can also upload images, and so maybe I'll do that just to kind of show you how that works. But you can also upload images that literally just PNG files. We'll convert them to 3D stickers, and that will allow you to show them in AR. If you're for clients or all in on NFTs, for example, they're uploading like really, really cool trading cards in 2D. They're converted into 3D, and then you can kind of stream them anywhere and make them shareable. Every 3D model on Echo, like you saw, we have a QR code, but we have like a short link that basically can register and share it with anyone in the world, and they'll be able to see it automatically. Another thing that I can show you is kind of location-based experiences. So if I add this fox, for example, and I want to build like this Pokemon Go experience, I can actually tag locations based on to the model. So let's say I want this model to populate in New York. And there you go. So I'll have like this kind of GPS coordinate attached to it. This means that when you build your application, you can say, if I open in New York, I'm going to see the Fox. Or like the Empire State Building. If I open in San Francisco, I'm going to see the Golden Gate Bridge. And everything will basically stream based on location. Because again, data is coming in from the cloud. This means that when you're building an application like this phone, you can basically make it location aware. If your users are opening in one place, they're getting one type of content. They're opening in another, they're going to get another. OK, let's run through some other kind of cool things. As I mentioned, again, you can monitor locations. Here's the Fox we just added. You can see all these servers that are basically supporting your application, and you don't have to kind of handle them at all. You can see insights of where your users are coming from, how your content is being used, because again, we know where you're streaming. So that's a really powerful tool for you to understand that if you have a lot of users in Austin, Texas, let's hook up a server in Austin, Texas, so I'll get the best streaming experience. Another thing that we can do is we basically allow you to compress and convert stuff automatically. So let's say we know that our users are coming in from an area with low connectivity. We can decimate the models automatically and do basically polygon reduction, so they'll stream much, much faster. Or we can decide that we want to convert each 3D model to 2D thumbnails. We can also decide, OK, Christmas is coming up, and I want to change the content in my application so that the Empire State Building will be green and red because it's Christmas and I need to kind of texture my assets. So instead, again, going to the development cycle, you just go back here, click a few clicks, and there you go. The Empire State will become red, and you can kind of reshare your application, and your content manager will be able to basically change it based on seasonal content. Other stuff that you can do is kind of low-code, no-code stuff around like customizing, adding buttons. We just added Empire State. I can add a button, buy now, see here. We have a lot of clients who are doing e-commerce stuff, and they can basically allow people to redirect to the website, add a logo, customize their experience. Diving in a little bit more to just tutorials that we have, whether you can build with Echo, we support face tracking and all these different SDKs and all these different kind of platforms that allow you to build games. And yeah, here's one of our engineers who built like a makeup tutorial. Really, really, really cool stuff and compelling that I really just, to get inspired, just go through them to kind of figure out like what you want to build. And my favorite page is actually our inspiration page. This is filled with endless amounts of examples of project that people build with Echo, if it's for education or NFT or games or a project that we did with Verizon around streaming over 5G. So definitely kind of go through, see what our developer community is building to get inspired and kind of understand what you want to build in 3D, AR, and VR. OK, so let's recap. So we saw how we can store, stream, and kind of manage content anywhere. And we saw it live, which again, thank you, Wi-Fi gods. We saw that you as a developer can choose anything. We saw game engines. We saw AR SDKs like web and mobile. And we saw how content creators don't need to do anything technical. Just drag and drop some content. Automatically, it streams everywhere. And we build, store, and deliver that content under the hood. Again, we touched upon how apps today can be really, really, really big because all the assets are preloaded. And even things like Fortnite will require you to have like a season or basically a large update periodically to basically get new content. With Echo, all these apps become like super, super small and easy to update because you can literally have that content management system that you can just drag and drop assets and automatically everything works. Developers obviously save time and money. You don't have to kind of rebuild your own server setup. You don't have to worry about that at all. You focus on your application. You focus on how to build the features that you want, and it just works. And content creators need no technical skills at all to build applications. We're proud to say that we have over 12,000 developers on our platform, or again, building applications for e-commerce and training and games and data visualizations. And we get between 100 and 200 developers registered every week. Thank you so much for the crowd. And as I mentioned, we're a verified solution partner with Unity, which basically means that our SDK works really, really well with Unity, and we have their team's support. And we're constantly adding integrations because we're seeing that, again, we have things like Niantic creating an amazing SDK, and other companies are building amazing kind of camera-first apps SDKs. We want to integrate with them and basically stream data there and empower you as a developer to make sure that you can swap content between platforms. If you want to start, like we saw in web, tomorrow you want to move to Unity, you can do that. And I think that's, again, not surprising that we're seeing the recent traction that we had because 3D content is everywhere. It's in the world of gaming, it's in the world of AR, VR, it's in the world of e-commerce. Every industry today has some kind of 3D component, and specifically what we saw recently, everyone was asking, what's your metaverse strategy? Ask yourself that same question, like where and how can I inject 3D content into kind of my application or my service? A little bit more about us as a company. We just raised a $4 million round with Convoy Ventures, Reimagine Ventures, and Space Capital, and a few angels from GitHub, Datadog, and Facebook, or Meta. And we went through Techstars, which are an amazing supporter, and got grants from Y Combinator and Verizon. We won a bunch of awards and some vanity metrics, but again, for us, it's all about being obsessed with making developers' lives easier. That's why we go to these events. That's why we kind of try to engage developers and kind of bring the community together, because we realize that you as a developer, your time is valuable, and you need to build applications really, really fast, and we can help you do that. So check out our website, register. It's totally, totally free. You can literally get a free account today, do everything that we just did today. Upload any 3D model, play around with it, stream it to your device, share it with your friends. They can see it automatically. We see a lot of, again, as I mentioned, a lot of uptake in developers recently, because every developer is now a 3D developer. Every developer wants in on the world of AR, VR, 3D, and you shouldn't be different. Play around with it. This is kind of the new, I think if you haven't been kind of drinking the Kool-Aid being at AWE, definitely be convinced that 3D content is the future, and 3D applications are the next generation of experiences. And yeah, if you want, you can always go to this link to kind of see the Empire State Building. That's kind of a static link that we always have. Go echo3d.co/NYC. If you have any questions, happy to answer them. Aside from that, thank you so much for coming. This has been such a pleasure and an honor. Hope you really, really enjoyed the event, and safe travels to wherever you're going after this. Thank you so, so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alon and Echo 3D. If we have any questions, you can go ahead and find your way to the mic down in the middle here.
Hi, so this will work on Unity builds for iOS and Android as well?
Exactly, exactly. Okay. So you literally integrate our Unity SDK, and it will automatically work regardless if you're using iOS or Android.
Gotcha. And are there size limitations on the drag and drop 3D images if you want to put in a room or something bigger than that?
Yeah, so it depends on the kind of the plan that you have, but usually no. We have clients who are uploading files that are like 500 megabytes large, and we convert them automatically to 5 megabytes. And we also had an uptake of, remember when the LiDAR scanner was introduced to iOS devices? So we had the users literally scanning full-on rooms, uploading it to Echo with an API call, and bam, like it just works automatically, and you can kind of teleport to that room, because we do that conversion and compression automatically. That's a great question.
Great. Are you thinking about things other than 3D models, like videos and?
Yeah, so I didn't show that, but you can literally upload images and videos too. They work automatically, work the same thing as 3D. For the image, I think I showed an image that basically streams to Unity. Same thing works with videos, literally just MP4 files, and that will work automatically. Great questions.
I was wondering, do you guys do anything for generating LOD levels, or is it just like one compression step?
Log levels, you mean, or LOD?
LOD levels?
Oh, yeah. So in the compressed page that I saw, you can literally say, I want this model compressed by 54% or something like that. You can literally, through an API call or through the console.
Will it generate like multiple levels
Yep. So we do that automatically. When you upload a model, under the hood, we'll do all these different LODs, which basically means kind of different sizes of decimations. But you can also like explicitly say, I want this model decimated by this amount, and that works. Cool. Our SDK, if it kind of recognizes that your bandwidth is kind of low, it will try to load a different LOD or like try to kind of basically kind of improve. But we saw really, really good results with our compression to the point that you, again, upload like a 500 megabyte model, the LOD kind of decimation looks phenomenal even when it's like 5 megabytes, so like 100x.
Cool, thanks.
Thanks, man.
All right, thank you. Final round of applause for Alon here.
Thank you so much, everyone.